The development of weapons gives a country more strength and power, and it is for this reason that more is invested in this area. Military confrontations often have a very high number of casualties, and therefore wanting to make their country victorious is a prerequisite for military development. Now, although in the era of peace, but about the weapons of the show will not stop, and weapons development vigorously promote the period is in the war years, when the demand for weapons is more urgent. Today we will look at one of the world's fastest strategic bomber. There are only two in the world. The emergence of the strategic bomber is considered to have changed a certain model of war. It advances the development of the weapons business to a greater extent, and the emergence of the bomber allows the army to have the support of the Sky Force. The bomber also has a greater lethality and portability. The fastest strategic bomber in the world is the American XB-70 Valkyrie bomber. The US has never stagnated in the development of weapons, and their technology has been relatively good from the beginning. This bomber is a high-altitude and high-speed strategic bomber that was originally developed by North American Aviation in the 1960s. The XB-70 Valkyrie bomber completed its first flight in 1964, when its speed reached Mach 3. Alone in this aspect of the speed has surpassed other countries at the same time, and the advantages of all aspects of this strategic bomber has also gained more attention. In addition to carrying the bomber, there is also a point of concern is its flight altitude, and this strategic bomber can reach 21,500 meters of flight altitude. The maximum takeoff weight can reach 249,476 kilograms. The whole body of this strategic bomber has a total length of 59.74 meters, height of 9.14 meters. The overall shape is a very common type of strategic aircraft, so is the front body of the long and thin. The rear body by the aircraft wings to expand a large structure. The wingspan of this aircraft can reach 32 meters. Because of its own positioning as a strategic bomber, so its fuel capacity is also very obvious. This strategic bomber fuel capacity can reach 136 tons in the process of war, can provide more power assistance, so the overall look down is more advantageous. Of course, such a strategic bomber in the manufacturing price is also very high. According to data show that the average manufacturing price of each station has $150 million US. If such a number of people do not have the concept of words, it can be completely with aircraft carriers to make a comparison. The price of manufacturing such a bomber can be manufactured 3 aircraft carriers, high price of course, and its overall use is directly proportional. The US military has never been one to make a loss, and this bomber has given them a lot of advantages in the course of the war. At that time, there was a common problem with strategic bombers, that is, poor heat resistance in the process of high-speed flight. In addition to the heat generated by the internal power, the external friction will also generate high temperatures, and this bomber in the material has more choices. To withstand a high temperature of 400 degrees Celsius is also not a problem. The design of these so that the XB-70 Valkyrie, this design makes the XB-70 Valkyrie bomber stand out in one way. This bomber's bomb capacity can reach 11,340 kilograms, if in the implementation of some bombing missions, when open, can carry 14 nuclear warheads as an additional weapon power, and first of all regardless of its own bomb capacity. On the 14 nuclear warheads can be carried in the course of the war to occupy the first to the advantage, and can even rely on these nuclear warheads to achieve victory. Despite their strength, as an aircraft of the 60s, the overall situation was one of confrontation between the United States and the Soviet Union, and after the United States acquired the bomber, the Soviet Union strengthened its air defense network. This strengthening directly hit the success rate of the bomber. In order to be able to achieve victory in this area, everyone turned their attention to the development of intercontinental ballistic missiles. So although it is said that the XB-70 is very powerful, but without the success of the development of it's meaningless. The third XB-70 Valkyrie bomber was unfortunately cancelled before it was even built. Nevertheless, the status of this strategic bomber is still very high. It has always been very powerful, both at the same time and up to now. It is also because of the knowledge of these weapons, so that everyone realized the United States military strength. This aspect of the advantage is their innate existence, and in the later stages of technological progress also has more strength of the highlights. And now the United States more let everyone afraid of a big reason, is that, although the United States in the 60s strong, but there is the Soviet Union as the ultimate resistance, but now can, and the United States' strength to counterbalance the big head of the country is still relatively small. Although the United States will not take action on a large scale, but the small action constantly. In the development of weapons strength, each country cannot be taken lightly, The 60s has occupied the giant in the field of weapons manufacturing of the United States. Now the development of the absolute strength is not low. As the world's fastest strategic bomber, its survival cycle is relatively short, but in the subsequent development and influence, the status is still very weighty.